It's always like, thank God, because
I'd like to start the finance committee meeting at 7:01. Okay, on the agenda for finance, we have resolution 2025-66, the Macaulay Grant Writing Contract. Resolution 2025-67, R.E. Warner Job Creation Grant. Ordinance 2025-75, Healthcare Plan for 2026. And last will be the second quarter financial review. Okay, so let's start with resolution 2025-66, the Macaulay Grant. Mayor, who would you like to speak on that?
Yes, Director Upton is going to take the lead, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Mr. Upton.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to the members of the committee and all of council. This is a renewal of our agreement with Macaulay and Company. Few notable changes within the agreements is that it's now a 14-month as opposed to a 12-month agreement. That was to accommodate this body's request that we're not renewing the contract in the middle of the state budget season. So this takes the contract in its period out of the middle of the state budgeting cycle. The fee is $10,000 per month, which is a slight increase. However, to say that we are satisfied with Macaulay would be an understatement. Since we've had Macaulay and Associates on board, the city has been awarded a grand total of which Macaulay has either written the grant or assisted us in the administrative portions of parts of $3.9 million in grant funding for every vertical within the city, whether it's medical equipment for ambulances, quite a bit of money for the parks, grant money for the demolition of the forest property, you name it. They have been instrumental in bringing down almost $4 million of additional funding over the past few years. So they more than pay for themselves. And while you were on recess, we got notification that we got another $660,000 in grants, which $275,000 was for the mid-block crossing at Lorraine Road, and another $375,000 for the stormwater project at Spruce Elementary. And so they wrote all of those grants.
Thank you. Before I ask any questions, I need to do the roll call here. I'm sorry to do that. In attendance, we have the mayor, law director, finance director, HR director, economic director, safety director, special assistant to the mayor, Councilwoman Gilchrist, Councilwoman Heeman, Councilman Limpert, Councilman Madden, Councilman Mari, Councilman Scarl, Councilman Shimsky, and guest. Sorry about that. First. No, really no questions, Mr. Upton. I just wondered what was the increase? I know you said 10,000. What was it?
I believe it was up from 8,000 a month last year, but I don't know that 100%.
Neither here nor there. 2,000 when we collected 3.9 million. Good with that.
And if I could just add to the conversation quickly, Mr. Chairman, the group, Macaulay and Associates, they meet with our staff regularly. They're on the phone with them every week, and then they come in for special meetings if there is something that caught their attention that they think that we should dive deeper into to consider, going for a grant. And so I guess I wanted to, I just wanted to illustrate that they are, it's not like they're just sitting behind a computer and then once in a while like pinging us like, oh, we saw a grant come available. Like they're actively engaged. And I feel like, especially now that they've been on board, I feel like they know our community and what our needs are, and so I just wanted to
Good,
let
thank
council
you.
know that as well.
Mr. Chair. I also, we've, over time, sometimes we've done grant writers and then also people who are more lobbyists who connected. This group, they know the right people to connect us to and with, and introductions that are lasting. And they also do the deep dive, they write the grants, they pull the information out of us so that we're not having to coming up with it all. And then they follow through, and I'm pleased with the work they've done. And even if, you know, the money's been pretty free flowing with COVID and all that, you know, federal money, they're still coming up with good grants for us, and that's important.
Thank you. Is there any questions from committee? No. How about council? Okay, seeing none. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, I can tell you my experience from this group to what we had before is like, I don't know, 10,000% better. I mean, when I asked the question of the person who did it before, how did they market North Olmsted, their answer was they sent out flyers. I was like, okay.
No.
So-
Okay. Well, I'm glad that
Yeah.
they're doing what we need them to do. Thank you. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to recommend resolution 2025-66 to all of council and ask for a second.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I just was a little confused on the whereas clause. I apologize, but it says, whereas this council by and through ordinance 2022-67, so that was the old one? And this is the renewal, so it ties to that old one, okay. I'm good now.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good now, thank you.
So, duly seconded by Councilman
Yeah.
Lippert. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. That passes 3-0. Okay, next was resolution 2025-67, the R.E. Warner Job Creation Grant. Mayor? Who would be talking?
Yes, Director Upton, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Upton. You're up.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So to take this group back in time for the members that might not have been on council when the original legislation came before you. The city of North Olmsted was fortunate enough to be chosen by R.E. Warner to locate here. This was a project that went through Jobs Ohio, which is the statewide economic development organization, down to our regional folks, Team NEO, and we were competing against several communities that had the assets, the space that they were looking for, to essentially become the permanent home for R.E. Warner. And the job creation grant was put forward over a 10-year period so that it kind of spreads the grant over a longer period of time. So there's a more aggressive percentages in the beginning years. The reason for that was that R.E. Warner still pays rent on their old place that they don't no longer use, and when that lease expires, their job creation grant percentage goes down tremendously. And so when I look at things and I spread them out over 10 years and I compare them to other projects that have been awarded by this body, the aggregate job creation grant is about 44 cents on the dollar, whereas other projects that we've approved have been 50 cents on the dollar or more. And so that's just a little bit of background. The original agreement between the city and R.E. Warner contemplated them moving in March 1st of 2024. They were delayed from construction in the landlord delivering the building, the units to them to be fully moved into the city. And so they reached out to my office and requested that to amend the agreement so it starts a year later. It doesn't extend it to an 11-year, it's just a 10-year agreement with a new start year, and that's all that is. And so That's the only thing that this legislation does. It amends the start year and the finish year, so it's a 10-year job creation grant.
So my question is, due to their construction or their landlord or whatever, not being ready or done, how does that really affect us? I mean, as this body to approve something that we didn't have control of?
So in job creation grant agreements, there's performance measures, right? And so we put forward what we call a MAP, a minimum annual payroll that you have to hit, right, in order to get your grant, and a minimum number of jobs you have to hit. And because they moved in September and not March, their payroll was below the minimum payroll, right? And that's what that's why they would either lose an entire year of the credit, or if we started at January 1 of 2025, they would realize the full credit that they conceivably made their part of their location decision was on the credit over that 10-year period and not losing a year of credit.
So you're looking to extend it to January of not extend it, but move it to January
It's-
26th as the start date?
January of this year as
Oh,
the
this
start,
year.
and then it ends 10 years. So it doesn't make it an 11-year, it stays 10 years, it just, the start year moves one year later than it was supposed to.
And the reason that they got 10 years is because you thought, or they said they had other opportunities to go elsewhere?
Yeah, we were competing throughout the region for this investment, and the direction I got from Jobs Ohio and Team NEO was to put forward the most aggressive proposal you could. And I think when I think aggressive, I think it's two parts. It's aggressive and responsible. And so the way that we balance out the amount of credit is to extend it over a period of time. So over a 10-year period, it's a 44 cents on the dollar credit, not a shorter period where it's a larger credit. But at the end of the period, when they have the most payroll and the most number of jobs, they have the least amount of credit, right? And so they're already well past their hiring numbers. They're getting close to 200 people there already.
Okay.
And getting close to over $20 million in payroll.
Okay. As we talked earlier today, you know, I'm not always in favor of these 10-year type programs, and you said that that's not going to be a mandatory thing, and I just want the record to reflect that. I'd like to see some 5 years and some other different things than just strictly going 10 years out.
Understood, Mr. Chairman.
That's all I have. How about from committee?
So just to clarify, so for 2024, was there any revenue that we
So-
received?
They did have, Mr. Chair, they did have, wages, cause they were here from September on.
So we're gonna see an increase,
So we
like,
saw income tax collections.
Yeah, they had $6,834,600 in payroll from September 1 till the end of the year. The map in the agreement was, I believe, north of $16 million a year. Associated payroll, I'm sorry, $18,632,862.
But isn't a certain percentage of that?
What I'm saying, that's the payroll, that's the map at the, by the end of 12/31/2026, they'll have to have 18,632,000. At the time that they moved, the map was supposed to be 10,478,000.
so, since they didn't hit it, we're not gonna see any change in the numbers then for 2024 because they didn't hit it, so
Well, they would essentially lose a year of credit.
Well, right, but from our financial standpoint, we don't see any difference for 2024 because there was nothing involved in that creation grant, right?
It's
They
after the
didn't hit it.
fact.
It's after the fact, but they
Yeah,
didn't
they
hit
apply
it.
like in the spring.
But they didn't hit it, so it wasn't in place anyway. Okay.
Correct. Their Creation Grant was to have started in March of this year. I'm sorry,
March of 20.
yes, and so had they gotten the unit delivered by their landlord on time, they would have well exceeded the map, right?
Good, Mr. Olbert.
I'm good now, thank you.
Mr. Meyer, anybody from council? Okay, seeing none, at this time, I'd like to recommend Resolution 2025-67, RE Warner Job Creation Grant. Ask for a second.
Second.
Thank you. Seconded by Mr. Lippert. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Passes by a vote of 3-0. And before we move on, I need to let the record reflect that our service director has entered. Thank you. So, third thing, ordinance 2025-75, our healthcare plan for 2026. Mayor, I'm sure our
Director Kidd.
Director Kidd, you're on.
So this is legislation that comes before council every year. It allows our healthcare broker to solicit proposals for excess coverage for our employee healthcare plans. Currently, our stop-loss coverage is set at $100,000, so an individual whose claims exceed that amount then go into stop-loss insurance. In 2023, we had 9 individuals that hit that amount. In 24, we had 7, and so far year-to-date, we have 5.
So 5, and we're probably right on average, right, for the end of the year?
Yeah, you're right about that. Because it's actually, it's a screenshot from the end of July, so it's not even counting anything that happened in August. And I
And,
know we have, I'm sorry, excuse me, I know we have individuals that are approaching. So we will probably come very close to 7, maybe over.
is there a price increase with this renewal?
So, well, there is soliciting, it's to solicit proposals for 26, so
Okay, oh,
I don't know at this point.
you don't know yet,
Yeah.
and how many will be looking at? 3?
We usually get about 3 or 4.
Okay. Have we had the same one for a while?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, and the point of this and going out and getting these is that if we have 20 people that hit it, we only pay 100,000, so it doesn't, we're not saying we're gonna hit 10 people or whatever, but they do look at our trend to know
Yes. It
how many
does-
when they're
That's
giving
what
us
they'll
pricing.
It will
Right.
affect our rates.
It does affect our pricing.
Absolutely, and we usually get a couple that decline to quote us.
That's every,
And it also
It's-
depends on the market, the insurance market. Sometimes people are interested in getting more business and sometimes they're not, depending on what their book of business looks like right then and there.
oh, okay, that's all I have, I'm sure. Well, you come back with the best thing for the employees. Anything from committee?
Just,
Mr. Rupert?
I mean, we don't need any effort in writing this proposal, or it's already,
The broker goes out.
the broker will do
Yes.
that as part of the
Oh,
process.
Council? Mr. Shimsky?
Are there any thoughts of, do they offer lasering? Are they talking about lasering any people?
We have not done that in many, many years.
We've talked about it though.
We've discussed it a
Yeah.
couple times, but
There was one time that we did it.
yes, that's the only one I can
Yeah.
remember.
In the, if I may,
Go ahead.
do we have, what is it per family plan, or we pay family, single, what's
The
the?
rates are different on family, single, I don't know what they are offhand, but I know we pay about 65,000.
For the year?
For the month.
Yeah, I believe there's like 5 different plans. They got employee, spouse, employee, kids, they have just employee. There's like 5 different.
Mr. Chair, we could send that chart out
Yeah.
maybe to the council.
Summary?
Yeah, the one that we,
Absolutely.
okay.
That'd be great.
Do we have health incentivized plans as far as like them joining a gym or getting their physicals and stuff like that?
Wellness
We do
program.
have a wellness program, yes.
Some of us achieve better results than others.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, if there's no other questions at this time, I'd like to make a ordinance 2025-75, the health care plan proposals for 2026, and ask for a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lippert. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The vote passes by a vote of 3 to 0. And lastly, which I'd like to just have a little overview of our quarter two.
Can I come sit there so I
Sure,
can spread my
please,
papers
and,
out a little bit
It
here?
doesn't have to be super
Good, yeah, I'm not
detailed
gonna,
because I'm already past my time.
uh-oh, alright.
So, but
Well, I did
just
I did
some of the
provide you,
things.
I did provide you the report and the review. I guess, you know, the general fund is the basic, I mean, the fund that we watch closest because that's where most of our, like our safety and our service and things come out of. So the revenue is exceeding prior year by 10%, and it's 55% at 6 months, so that's good. It usually does fly a little bit with that because property taxes, some people pay their property taxes for the whole year. So usually property taxes are like 52, 53%. But income tax, as I mentioned, is also up. In the withholding, it's up about $300,000. And in net profit, it's up, which is cyclical. And if you look at the chart that I gave you guys, you can see over the years, it kind of like starts out low, it goes a little higher. People are paying in estimates, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I have too much money in estimates, and then they start not paying them. So then the net profit amount goes down because they're using them for refund, so or toward their return. So it's very cyclical. So that we're on the uptick again. That's good. Let's see. The charges for services are a little over plan, but the largest item in there is the consolidated dispatch service fees. And just so you know, in the revenue report, like the detailed one, I did create a line item there so you can watch. And it's on page 1 in charges for services, and it's toward the bottom of that category, consolidated dispatch services. So there's $366,250 that we've collected for the first half of the year, which they pay quarterly, so that makes sense. And then the expenditures, if you're interested, that they're also they've always been in their own division, right after police. So I can get you that page, and maybe I'll print it out for you if you're interested. Then, let's see, what else did I want to share with you? The expenses, I'm a little concerned about because the wages are higher, a lot higher than last year, but it's hard to judge because we were doing a lot of retro pays throughout the whole year for 2024's union contracts that finally settled. And so I was looking service, we paid the retro on April 12th, so that's included in this scenario. But clerical tech and non-bargaining were in July 19th, so there's no retro pay for them. So it's essentially 2 years worth of increases that are in 2025 that wouldn't be in there. So I think that as those start coming down or going into the mix of last year's, we'll get a better idea of where we're at compared to last year. So that's important. And that's similar for the benefits for pension. The pension is based on a percentage of income. So those comparisons essentially have 2 years worth of increases when you're looking from last year at this point to this year at this point. So, and then one other item is materials and supplies. I don't remember a time when we've been at 52.8% expended. Usually we have, we're never at that point by the end of June. But we had more snow this year, so there we were ahead in March as well. So the salt, there were more equipment and repairs that had to get done, and so those were about $200,000 more added into it, and fuel is also goes up for usage, not necessarily price, but for usage, because we're out salting and things. So it's explainable, but I'm still a little worried about it. So hopefully, it'll ease out and we'll have a nice mild last quarter. The contractual services, when you look at them, the utilities, that's one thing that we're tracking is the utilities have increased 19.8% over the prior year, which both gas and electricity, their contracts were renewed and they're just higher. I mean, we go out to the market, we go out and this is what, it depends on when you go, and also the rates have gone up dramatically because of capacity issues. So we're kind of stuck in Ohio at the higher rates.
Director, I have a quick question. With the 19.8, do you know if the two utilities, gas and electric, is the gas the bigger driver of this 19.8? Because it seems like everyone, even on our residents, are really complaining about their gas.
I don't know, but I can look.
I mean, it's not a
Yeah,
big
no,
deal.
I can look.
Just so
They're
No.
separate line items, so I can
Yeah,
pull it
I
out
can
and look at
tell
it really
people
easily.
that call, like, well,
Yeah.
we're experiencing it too at City Hall. And,
Yeah. My insight is that it was electricity,
Electricity.
but that's,
Yeah, I did see a
I think it was
dramatic increase on
electricity.
electric bills too, yeah. Okay, thank
But-
you.
And then the other, on the good side is that even though we have 7 people who might be, or 5 that are in, the stop loss, our healthcare claims are 372,000 below last year at this point in time. So that's good. So, gotta point out the good stuff too. And then capital outlay, I mean, they're going right along and they can only move as fast as the projects go.
Okay.
Is there any, if you guys have
Does
questions?
committee have any questions? I'm good.
I have one, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, the retro pay, that has us above budget, did we budget that for this year?
We did.
Okay, is it just spread out over the year, but?
Well, it's, the only pay we budgeted for was dispatch because they're the only ones who got it in 25.
Okay,
But we budgeted those higher rates of pay, so that's not the problem. It's that when I'm comparing June, and June of 24 doesn't
prior
have
year, okay,
any of that retro in there to June of this year.
Yeah.
It essentially has like
so it's above prior
2
year.
years, by percentage wise, it's like 2 years worth of increases in there.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And as these come on, it'll be, as, like I said, I have the dates of when we paid them, it'll hopefully even out.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Lambert.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sheriff. If you can add the, when you were talking about breaking out the bucket for the dispatch,
Mhm.
can we get a look at that for 2022 through 2025 to see?
Yeah, that's a good idea, because when we're looking at dispatch, we still have to cover our costs that we had, and we're getting money to cover the additional costs. So I think it's important to look at that, because we're not contributing revenue to it
Right.
to make it a break-even thing. So I think that's
So,
I think-
yeah,
I think
you talked to
yeah.
me about going back
Yeah,
5
I
years,
think-
but whatever you want to do,
I think
it's
it'll give you a
great
good idea of what dispatch
I'd like to
costs.
see what our cost was and then the new stuff.
Yeah, if we can go 4 or 5, that'd be
Yeah.
good, so we at least get.
not a problem.
Mr. Chair, if I could,
Yeah.
the current cost for what we were doing for North Olmsted Police and Fire and Fairview Park Police is about $1.1 million a year already. So that's kind of what was already in existence before we brought on the township in the falls last December.
Okay, well, you just can print out the report for us for the last so many
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's all.
we wanna compare that also with expected recovery costs on that too, so we can just see what that looks like.
Okay. Anything else? Sure.
Thank you.
Councilwoman
Mr. Chair.
Heeman?
So on that, retroactive pay, it's retroactive straight time pay, and you can calculate the percentage then, so the percentage of what the wage increase was retroactively should match, right, your increase. And
Oh,
it does, or is there overtime retroactive? What's
It's,
the?
everything's over, I mean, it's retroactive, every hour they've worked or gotten paid, it's retroactive. So yeah, I should know, I can add up that,
Would you?
I understand. Mhm.
Very good. Any other questions about the review? Will we get one for the third quarter too? You print this out? Okay, we'll do the same thing for the third quarter. Okay, thank you for the review, and at this time, I'll, conclude the finance meeting at 7:32. Thank you.
I would like to start the Public Safety, Health, and Welfare Committee for August 12th, 2025 at 7:32 p.m. Present are committee members Shemsky, Heeman, and Madden, council members Gilchrist, Limpert, Mari, and Scarl, Mayor Jones, the directors of Finance, Human Resources, Law, Public Safety, Service, the Special Assistant to the Mayor, and guests. On tonight's agenda, there are 5 items, the first being liquor permit number 1005612-1, Bill Defoe. The police department has no objections with this permit, so at this time, I wish to not object to liquor permit number 1005612-1, Bill Defoe. 400 Great Northern Boulevard, 4954 Great Northern Boulevard, North Olmsted, Ohio, 44070. Sorry.
No
No,
questions.
go ahead.
Sorry, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Not objected, 3-0. The second is resolution 2025-70, authorizing the mayor to acquire an additional 8 Flock Safety Falcon license plate readers as part of a violent crime reduction grant totaling $24,000 and declaring an emergency. Director Schofield, would you wish to speak on this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This legislation, as you mentioned, allows us to lease 8 additional Flock license plate readers, or LPRs, as part of the Violent Crime Reduction Initiative grant that we received from the state in May. The $24,000 will cover the first year of the lease, and then we will just add those cameras to our existing agreement with Flock. You may recall we already have 15 Flock LPRs across the city at the major egresses and ingresses. These LPRs in particular will be placed at the large intersection of Great Northern and Country Boulevards. So as you're coming off or going on to 480, all the hotels and motels that line Country Club, and then of course the mall and coming further into the city. So that is one location where the cameras we do have there are from a grant from many years ago from the county, and they're very old and really not particularly useful. So that is the Flock cameras. I am asking for suspension on second reading because the grant, the 12-month grant was condensed into 6 months, and we need to get them up and running before the end of December and be able to show the state that we've been able to use them successfully in that period of time.
Question, are these fixed or are they mobile?
They're fixed.
They're fixed. Any questions from committee?
It's not a question, just a comment for the record, that these, if I am correct, they are not at all used to like clock speeding or issue tickets or any of that, they're just license plate readers. So that the public understands we're not entering a program of any sort like that.
Correct. These devices can, if we're looking for a red pickup truck that was seen at a scene of a crime in North Olmsted around 5:00 p.m., we can go back and look at all of the flock cameras in the area to see if we can pick up that truck. So it'll capture the vehicle and the license plate to identify vehicles that may have been part of a crime, but it doesn't identify anything else.
Any questions from council? Councilwoman Good?
Where do they go? Like, if are they on like a pole or on the wire or?
They're usually placed on existing infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
So on any of the poles, where Kevin can or Dr. Carney can probably explain it a little bit better.
On the traffic lights on the pole,
Yeah.
the arms would go across there. You can see them if you're paying attention, if you're looking for them. So be careful, Councilwoman.
Yeah. So they get attached to existing infrastructure at the intersection. And then Flock maintains all of the data. So it's cloud-based and Flock, that's why we lease the devices, we don't purchase them outright.
Any other questions from committee? Go ahead.
Yeah, are they solar powered or how do they get their energy?
Flock maintains them. I don't know.
Like
Oh,
tied
they're
into
not
our
solar.
electricity?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so that's why they're tied in, they're attached to existing infrastructure at the intersection.
Okay, because they need electricity. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, at this time, I move to recommend to the rest of council resolution 2025-70 and ask for a second
On suspension,
on suspension.
second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Third item on tonight's agenda is ordinance 2025-71, authorizing the mayor to enter into a purchase agreement with Faro Technologies for the purchase of Faro Focus Core 3D replacement scanner to be used by the police department at a cost of $48,997.23, funded through an equitable share fund and declaring an emergency. Director Schofield?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is an item that was approved for this year's budget. We purchased our first Faro scanner in 2018. So this is just a replacement scanner. We've been updating the software that goes with it as we go. What a Faro scanner does is it's a tool used to collect evidence at crime scenes or at the scene of a motor vehicle accident. It captures in color a 3D image of that crime scene or scene of a motor vehicle accident that allows us to then use those images to analyze the evidence collected and investigate the incident. It increases the accuracy, it reduces the time to collect and document the evidence, and it has received judicial notice as to its admissibility in court. We are one of the very few communities and police departments that have Faro equipment in Northeast Ohio. It is often used in other communities. We get called out to help them at the scene of major crimes or MBAs, and we also partner a lot with the state's Bureau of Criminal Investigation when they need extra assistance with the Faro equipment. So again, this is just to purchase a replacement Faro scanner only as we're up to date on all the software.
Is the standard last 7 years, or is this an exceptional piece of equipment?
Yeah, this one is just, it's at its end of its useful life at 7 years.
Technology changes and
Yeah.
stuff like that. If something was to damage it, would we have to incur or buy a whole new one, or do we have how does that work?
That's a good question. I would have to get back to you.
Committee? Ms. Heeman?
I will say, if I may, to that point, it does come in protective carrying case, and not everybody has access. We only have a couple officers who are trained to actually use the equipment, so it's held very close. Damage would be unlikely. We haven't had any in the 7 years since we had the current scanner. But I can find out exactly from Lieutenant Fiorito in the morning.
Understood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So are we gonna keep the old one, just in case, or what do you do with the old one?
It's my understanding we'll keep it until it
Till we can.
conks out.
Yeah.
Because we have an additional, Officer Paul Garneret has been trained on use of the Faro scanner, so we'll use it until we really need the more contemporary scanner at this point.
Thank you, Director.
More questions? Councilman Martin, Madden?
Director Schofield, could you explain the equitable sharing fund? I'm not familiar with what that's referring to.
That is a special fund where the city gets, for example, gets a share of a drug bust or an operation that yields thousands of dollars in cash, and we share it with the feds. So we get occasionally, we haven't gotten a whole lot, we got a couple lately, where we've gotten part of that capture. So that's the equitable sharing with the feds.
Mr.
Yeah.
I'm going, who's this?
Director Coffer?
And the federal government handles that, and it's either it's DEA or Department of Justice, so there's two different versions that are coming our way, and we participate in things, busts or whatever, and it takes years.
Yeah.
We file our share of costs and post stuff, we have a website that we have to report in, and we were successful. Last year we got several that had been from several years before, so it does take time. But it's limited to what it can be used for. This is the perfect example of what it can be used for.
Follow up on that, it's not just cash, it's any property that's acquired during the execution and it's being forfeited. And it could be instrumentality of the crime, it could be criminal tools, it could be a vehicle, it could be a house. I mean, we've seen all sorts of things over the years that are forfeited because of the way they're used in criminal activity. And it's the proceeds from those types of things. In addition to cash, you might have a cash forfeiture. They're all forfeiture cases. We just don't grab them up with the feds. They're all forfeiture cases with court orders, and then we get the percentage.
Any other questions from council?
Comment, and isn't that a good portion of that attributable to our canine? Would you say our canine?
Our canine? It just depends on if it happens here.
Had a few very successful missions.
Yes, they have. They have been very successful in especially sniffing out drugs.
Anybody else? Councilman Madden?
So when we loan this out to other departments, there's no reciprocity where they fund in any way
No.
us?
No, it's like mutual aid. Yeah.
Is that it? Everyone done? So at this time, I'd like to move to recommend ordinance 2025-71 to the rest of the council and ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. The fourth item today is resolution 2025-73, authorizing the mayor to enter into a 3-year contract with the city of Berea, Ohio, for the purpose of the city of North Olmsted providing the city of Berea with police and fire dispatching services and declaring an emergency. Director Schofield?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is an agreement for 3 years of dispatching services for the city of Berea Police and Fire. We expect to flip the switch on their phone lines in mid-December, much like we did with the Township and Falls last year. And that date is wholly dependent on AT&T as to when they're available to do the work. But we're anticipating about December 12th for that switch. This is a contract, as mentioned, for $455,436. And then after the first year, that will increase by 3% each year. Bringing them on requires, because of their size, an additional desk or console, which you thankfully, and I'm grateful that you approved that on suspension last week so that we could go ahead and get that purchased and get it here and installed on time. It will also require 4 additional FTE dispatchers, which will be covered as part of their fee. I know it's been a lot of activity. I will just say we currently have 4 dispatchers in training, 3 full-time and 1 part-time. 2 should be ready to go out on their own by the end of this month, and we anticipate a 3rd full-time dispatcher will likely be out on her own by the beginning of October. You may have heard that the dispatch center in Strongsville, Southwest Emergency Dispatch Center, is disbanding. They notified all of their communities a couple weeks ago. We have already had 3 of their full-time dispatchers call us, and they are being polygraphed this week. We have their applications on file. Lieutenant Fiorito is conducting those polygraphs. So if they all pass those and then pass, we'll interview them, and they'll go through all of their other pre-employment requirements. We could bring them on board pretty quickly. What's really, really nice is that they're all experienced and they all know Berea, Olmsted Township, and Olmsted Falls for dispatching for them at the Strongsville Center. So we are continuously hiring full-time and part-time dispatchers. So that's Berea.
Okay. Question. So where are we in regards to when we start receiving money from the county? How many fire and police do we need?
When we start receiving money from the
Start
county,
receiving at some point money from them?
If we become.
that is yet to be determined. That is yet to be determined.
No date.
Mr. Chairman, it's actually the opposite. Where are we with regard to complying with the state and county laws surrounding dispatch centers? We are in position now. We are fulfilling what the state has required for years by dispatching the number of units that we are, police and fire together.
Yep.
So we do not have to pay any fees now.
Okay.
That is, I think, yes. However, we continue to pursue any opportunities that we can to gain any type of funding or grants that might be out there, whether it's through the county or the state.
And the expansion is important. If we want to ever be able to directly receive the 911 cellular funds, we have to be dispatching for 5 communities, police and fire. Those 911 cellular calls are now getting paid at 70 cents a call. That money would come directly to us. Right now it goes to the county. And they hold on to it in their budget.
And it would also increase safety because they would come directly here, right?
It would come directly
And
here.
so it reduces
Right now, we
the amount
don't
of time.
get any of it. So the expansion is is necessary to qualify for those funds with the, over the next couple of years.
In regards to the call center itself, where are we as far as towards capacity of what we could actually handle?
We're not even close.
Questions from committee?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So we have to have 5 police and 5 fire? And where are we at with the fire now? Just ours? Or
3,
3, okay,
us, Township and Falls,
okay. And
Rio make 4.
No.
and Berea, 4,
and
so
fire
yes.
have 4. Okay,
Thank you.
okay. All right.
So we're getting there.
And did we build out, what did we build out for, 9 or 10? What,
We'll be able to fit up to 14
because
consoles.
it was big when we
Yeah.
expanded that space, I remember.
We just built out the space
Yep.
in anticipation of potential future expansion. So with the console that you approved last week, that takes us to 6.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a
Councilman Madden?
We've talked about this, and just to formally go on record, my biggest concern on this whole movement toward regionalization is staffing. So it sounds like we're on the right path at this point, so hopefully all of these potential candidates are gonna pan out and we're gonna be up to speed to handle it when it comes, so that's my biggest concern though.
Thank you.
Ms. Garl?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I'm fully on board with the whole thing with dispatch. When we first got elected, we were thrown into this Sugar Valley, and it wasn't a very fun time or a good thing. We are gonna have growing pains, and I think this council should realize that. And I believe with Strongsville disbanding, we will get good dispatchers over here. And the ones that are on maternity or whatever, they'll be eventually back. So I think we're on the right path. I think we're gonna be one of the best regional dispatch centers on the west side. And I'm all in with it, so that's my thought. Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, seeing none. Seeing none. I move to recommend resolution 2025-73 and ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. Measure passes 3-0. The next final item is ordinance 2025-74, authorizing the Director of Public Safety to contract for and proceed with demolition and removal of an unsafe structure located at 5035 Porter Road in North Olmsted as a public nuisance, and further directing that abatement costs be certified as a lien upon said parcel pursuant to RC 715.26 and 715.261 and declaring an emergency. Is this Director Schofield or the Law Department?
I think both actually want to weigh in, Mr. Chairman.
Let's start with Michael.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. This property, and by the way, I don't come here to discuss this as somebody who's happy to have to do this type of thing, because it's quite sad, to be honest with you. But the only time I've ever come to city council and actually handed out photos of a dilapidated nuisance property was about 2 years ago, when I brought photos up to the council meeting and I shared them with you, and it was this property. This property has been in a state of disrepair for well over 3 years. The original violations on this property date back to fall of 2022. But believe me, by the time you got to violations in the fall of 2022, there's a history prior to that, right? So there have been criminal prosecutions, at least 2 criminal prosecutions. There has been a conviction. There has been a jail sentence ordered that has been served. There have been extended opportunities to abate the conditions that are identified in this property over the past, through both probation department, extensions of time to the building department, assistance of the law department, and to no effect. So, suspecting what we would find when we went inside the home, we obtained a warrant to enter into the property from the court and went in. And what you see attached to this ordinance demonstrates the dire condition inside that building. It is not fit for human occupancy in its current condition. It was noted in the report, everything from lack of running water, including a toilet, to the electrical problems, to the rodent infestation, to the water coming in through the roof, to the just general debris, missing garage door. The house is essentially packed almost to the ceiling with various bits of debris. Then you go outside the house, and those are the photos I showed you, and it's gotten worse. It hasn't gotten better. It's gotten worse. This is one of the only cases I've ever seen where the judge said, all right, let's take a field trip. And the judge and the defendant and the city of North Olmsted officials and the defense attorney and the law department all went out there and took a look. And I think I reported that to you a while. It's another one I reported to you. Never seen that happen before, and the judge was appalled. The bottom line is that we have afforded 3 years and multiple opportunities for this homeowner to do something. There have been efforts to try to coordinate with third-party providers, which went unfulfilled, and we didn't get assistance. The house is a nuisance to him. It is a nuisance condition to the poor people that have to live, and I say poor, unfortunate people that have to live next to this. I can't imagine what it's like to live behind or next to this piece of property, which is completely out of control. An order to abate or demolish was lawfully issued, due process was served, and guess what? He didn't appeal it. So therefore, it is now a final order upon him. He has failed to do so, the time has run out, and at this point, we believe that removing the structure to abate this nuisance is necessary to preserve the public health and safety. It's unfortunate that we've gotten to this point. This is not the first time a case like this has happened. We had an individual on Lorraine Road, I forget how many years, it was down by St. Clarence. Virtually the same type of situation. The house was there was no running water, there were no toilets, the house was stacked with debris to the point that our building inspectors were crawling between the ceiling and barely able to get through in the house. The unsanitary nature of it, rodent infestation, all the same things. This is not the first time we've gone through it, and again, it's terribly unfortunate, but to protect the city of North Olmsted and the people that live in this community, it sometimes is essential that we have to take a drastic step. And we have tried, and our building officials have exercised great patience. The law department has exercised great patience. The neighbors, I think, have Herculean patience here, and it's time. So we come to you to proceed with, to recognize it as a public nuisance, to allow the Director of Public Safety to proceed to acquire a contractor and to stop this from continuing to occur.
Director Schofield?
That's a very good summary. The only thing I will add is hoarding is a terrible mental illness. What you see at this property is a result of that. The property owner, as the law director referenced, has refused any help and assistance from our social workers at the senior center, to help with abatement and get him plugged into any other social safety net services that might be needed. So we really are out of all other options. We do have already have contractors on file that have been vetted because we went out for bid at the beginning of the year to do that, so we'd have someone or a company readily available to do this work if, for this very purpose. This is another one where I ask for suspension on second reading so we can get that process started and get the property taken care of. And it's really gotten to the point, it needs to come down.
Just a question for Director Schofield. What would the timeline look like 30 days after we pass it? Or like what's the timeline, 30 or 60 till the actual demolition?
I think actually it's less than that.
We'll make sure that we comply with the revised code timeframes,
Code,
for notices and posting any additional notices that would be required. We have to notify the mortgage holder, there's a mortgage, the bank will have to be involved as well. But to the extent that it's going to happen here in fairly short order, we're not gonna go much further than that. Just with the minimum required amount of time is what we're gonna do, and then we're gonna proceed. So you could see action within 45 days.
Any questions from committee?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Director Schofield, you probably know from our social workers and our folks, you know, that do that work at the senior center. This resident is not living there, or is he or she living there, and or is there an agency to move him to him or her to somewhere else, like a Red Cross that can assist, or what happens?
To my understanding and speaking with the team over at the senior center, he is refusing all help.
I was going to say, Mr. Chairman, to Director, if you read the report that was included to council with this ordinance, both our director of our senior center and our social worker both made attempts to work with him, and he refused their help. So we, you know, our team here, not just inspectors in the law department, but our entire city team did try to reach out and help him. And so there was contact made, and it was refused. The help was.
I'm not questioning that we did not do everything, because of course I have invoked those services on behalf of some of my residents in my 12-year tenure, and they're amazing resources and amazing people. But what is the process then to remove the person? Like it, how?
Is he living in his car? My understanding, he lives in the car next to the house?
He's been in his car for a while.
The house has been condemned, and so he's not supposed to even be in the house. So he may be in the car, which is also what happened with the other case. The other case was the same way. The Lorraine Road case was exactly the same way. The person was living in their car because the house was so out of control.
And the car is packed to the rim with stuff. So the senior center director and our outreach coordinator, both of who are licensed social workers, and our fire prevention bureau were part of the team that executed the administrative search warrant on April 24th. So it was as the mayor said, it was kind of an all, and the police department, they were all there for that, and all offered again to get him plugged into services to assist, and he refused even at that time. So.
Okay. We can keep going. I probably have way too many questions about this.
Any other questions?
Just a comment. I'm not sure I understand the urgency for suspension on this. If it's condemned, he's not supposed to be there. But you're basically saying all legal processes and all financial processes have played out. There's nothing else that would.
The urgency, Mr. Chairman, if I may, the urgency is that I don't think the people next to that house should have to spend one day longer than the amount of time they've had to spend living next to them. We all get frustrated with our neighbors from time to time, I understand, but to have to live next to that, one day is way too many. So the quicker we can take this matter and get it resolved, the great service to our residents, because enough's enough.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Director Crowe, I'm with you on that really, because if you've ever had to be anywhere near a property like this, next door, 4 doors down, it's just horrendous. Is there any way, Director Schofield, that through our services that we have, that we could make a temporary accommodation of like a hotel space or whatever at the time that we move in to do the demolition? And if it's rejected, it's rejected, but you know, I would assume that we have some emergency resources to do something like that.
To the councilwoman through the chair, we can offer, we have between what the senior center offers and actually our juvenile diversion program, we do have you know, gift cards and other things that can help go towards temporary, like a hotel room. And those have been offered many times already, so when we go, we can try one more time.
Yeah,
And
at
certainly
the
try
time
one.
that you're gonna invoke here, I think it would be appropriate to make one last offer and say that, you know, and then we will help with other services. If it's rejected, it's rejected, but I'd like for us to be on record as making that final offer.
Yes,
I think this team's built that way. Yeah, we would do that. And at the risk of saying one more thing that I don't need to say, but I'm gonna say as well, is we had a house fire last year where we had another hoarding situation. And as I recall, Director, I think our fire department opened up the garage door and there was nothing they could do because it was absolutely packed from side to side, front to back, floor to the roof.
Yes.
And the house was no better. So it becomes, it's another aspect of a safety issue. It's a tinderbox, and at the same time, you can't get in to do the job you need to do. And we've got another example of where we have an actual working structure fire, and the fire department couldn't do the job to contain it that they needed to because of the conditions. So just another aspect of why this is dangerous to the community.
Any more questions? Seeing no questions at this time, I move to recommend under suspension 2025-74 and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. And the Public Safety, Health, and Welfare meeting of August 12th, 2025 concludes at 8:08 p.m.
All right, thank you. I'd like to begin the Intergovernmental Relations Committee at 8:08 p.m. Present are committee members Mari, Gilchrist, and Shimsky. Council members Madden, Heeman, Scarl, and Lippert. The mayor, directors of finance, law, economic development, public safety, service, HR, and the special assistant to the mayor and guests. First, for our discussion today is a meeting for the mayor's reappointment of Mr. Keegan Radiff to the Tax Incentive Review Council. Mr. Radiff is currently in good standing, but he is here, so if you'd like to say anything.
Hi. I think most of you probably heard most of this last year, but just a little bit about myself with public service, tax, finance. I served 6 years in the Air National Guard. I was an Internal Revenue Service auditor, as well as currently I'm an Accountant 3 at the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. I'm a certified public accountant, certified public financial officer through the GFOA, certified managerial accountant, and a certified government finance manager. I also have an accounting degree as well as an MBA, and I'm just passionate about public service.
Thank you. All right, are there any questions or comments from committee? All right, any questions or comments? Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you for offering your time.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you.
All right, any additional comments from committee? All right, well then, seeing no other questions or comments, I'd like to favorably recommend the reappointment of Mr. Keegan Radiff to the Tax Incentive Review Council for the unexpired term ending December 31st, 2028, and ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, the motion passes 3-0. Thank you also for your willingness to volunteer. All right, okay, and then secondly, the next to discuss is the proposed changes to Council Rule 121.01 regarding the legislative request process. And I will just say, by all means, please, if I misspeak or say anything incorrect, you please jump on in. So thank you. The change to this process is being proposed to amend the timeframe for submission of legislation requests and the final legislation submission. Currently, these two steps require a fast turnaround time, not leaving much room for preparation, questions, and/or updates. The changes that are being proposed would move the legislation request submission to 1 p.m. on the Friday before the next council meeting, which would give 7 business days. And then the final legislation submission would be moved to the Thursday before at 1 p.m.
Mr. Marty?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
4:30 on Friday.
4:30. Thank you. So that is 4:30, not 1 p.m. Thank you very much. These changes would give more lead time for preparation, planning, and then provide more time to finalize and review materials before the meeting. The clerk of council has reviewed these changes with the impacted departments, and they're all in agreement with the process change. In addition, there is also a new online legislative request form and resource guide available. Overall, these changes will greatly improve communication and efficiency in the legislative review process. And I'd like to ask committee if there are any questions. Anyone from council? Yes.
Thank you. So if your workday ends at 4:30, why do you want the deadline to be 4:30 and not 1 on the Thursday before?
It's sufficient in order to get the legislation to the law department on Monday morning, so we still are now allowing ourselves a day and a half extra than what the law department used to have, so.
Okay, if you're good with that.
I'm good.
I personally in my career would tell, lawyers that your deadline is 3 days, 4 days before it really is, right? Am I right? And then still say, put the pen down. So I'm just thinking about what is best, perhaps for you, because wait until the end of the day. Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, we generally don't have stuff coming in at like 4:30 where it's like a rush to it's like you're filing at the filing window for the courthouse and they're closing the window and you're sliding your paper in. Not so
I'm sure
much.
you've never done that.
No.
Actually,
I've
Jennifer
driven to
just
the
did that
airport
this
before
afternoon at
midnight.
4:25.
The clerk that took it gave it to me real good, like I wasn't even there talking about what an idiot I was. But so I'm not concerned that that's gonna happen. It's just hopefully that it gives an opportunity to vet it a little bit better. Because sometimes on Fridays when I'm writing these things, there might be pieces, parts missing, and yes, could I have been studying them from Wednesday to Thursday? It doesn't allow that, so we just bump it back, give a little more time, and then we can make sure we're all good.
If you're comfortable with that
I'm
as
good.
well,
Yeah, I'm good.
because I understand
changing,
that,
but-
it's a process down the chain of, how the deadlines become missed, and it, makes it pressuring for the people at the end of the line.
I remember when we didn't have a standardized form, and you should have seen the way legislative requests came in. I mean, you'd have it on a piece of notebook paper, you'd have some type, some handwritten, it's good to have a good standardized process.
Mr. Scar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just the process overall to fine tune it is, I think, great. I know the directors have to do a little bit of changing, but I think it's also gonna help council that we get information a lot sooner than last minute things. And just think overall, the whole process is gonna make this more efficient for all of us, not only the administration, but for us sitting here at the table. And I applaud it. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I just want to say that I think the clerk has done a great job in putting it forth, going through and talking with all the players and key stakeholders in it to make sure it works for everybody. And I think that doing it online in Box, which is a scary word to me, Box, she's saving time for all of us too. So and then we have a better record of everything. It's automatic instead of on paper and scanning in. So I think it's gonna work out great. Just some, probably learning pains, but we're used to it.
Thank you. All right, any other questions from council? Anyone else from the administration that would like to comment? Okay, all right. Then seeing no other questions or comments, I'd like to favorably recommend the proposed changes to Rule 121.01 of their legislative request process and ask for a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye. All right, passes 3-0, and the intergovernmental meeting concludes at 8:15 PM. Thank you very much.
Okay. I would like to start the Building, Zoning, and Development Committee meeting on Tuesday, August 12th at, I can turn around, 8:16 PM. Present are committee members Leonard, Shimsky, Gilchrist, council members Heeman, Scarl, Madden, Mari, the mayor, law director, finance director, special assistant to the mayor, HR director, safety director, economic development director, and what's the title now? Gus. Okay. Trying to see if I missed anybody. It's not in the same order anymore.
We've changed it up.
Resolution 2025-17 is a resolution approving and adopting the 2025 comprehensive plan for the city of North Homestead. This is a continuation of meetings we've had throughout the year around the comprehensive plan. We left our last meeting with several changes to the implementation matrix throughout the chapters, which have now been updated according to the last meeting's requests. Mr. Upton, is there anything else you want to comment around the changes or the plan as a whole?
Nothing other to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for a spirited discussion on the priorities of the city over the next decade. And I think the document is better served for the conversation.
Any questions from committee? Questions from council? Okay. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Ms. Ewan.
Thank you for sending the pages.
Oh, yeah, the pages, yeah.
Thank you for sending updated pages.
Yeah. No, it was a long wait coming, and I remember I joked when we started that I said I didn't intend for it to take the whole year. It only took half the year, 3/4 of the
We
year.
made it with 4 months to spare, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
we did it well. So, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to favorably recommend Resolution 2025-17, the comprehensive plan. I ask for a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
It's supposed to pass on the floor, man.
Do I have to hold it, like, at least discuss this then? Yes.
Say you're gonna hold it
Yeah,
in.
okay. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2025-62, which is the Bricker grading contract, and after discussions from the economic development director, we've agreed that we should probably hold this in committee for this meeting, and then kind of regroup. So he's got some things on his side, and we as a committee have some things to present. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to hold 2025-62 in committee and ask for a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0, and I'll conclude the Building Zone Development Committee meeting at 8:19